Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another post-match show with myself, Chris, and as always, my co-host, Irish Tommy. It's been a minute, mate. How have you been?
Not too bad. Good to see you back.
Yes.
I know your time has been productive, so I'll forgive you. But yeah, it is nice to be back on a post-match show, even if we are going to talk about a loss. So
Yeah.
and whoever's going to be in the live chat with us, welcome back.
Yes, good to be back. Yeah, as many of you know, I've been kind of bouncing around the place. Just got back from Vegas last week, and then currently, as you can tell, if you didn't watch Hammer the Point the other day, I am not in one of my normal places. I'm currently in my grandparents' house. I have been hunting with my grandfather this week for Ohio's gun season. So that's where I am this week. But yes, as you've mentioned, unfortunately today, West Ham kind of crushed by Man United. Scoreline feels doesn't tell the full story, but anyways, West Ham have lost 3-1 today. So let me get your immediate reactions to the match, mate.
Well, apart from stating the obvious, evening Vernon. Apart from stating the obvious, disappointment. You're always disappointed when you lose. Funnily enough, I found this game actually quite instructive. They say you learn a lot more in defeat than you do in victory, and
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's absolutely true of this game. I think there are some glaring deficiencies staring us in the face that need addressing. If we're going to continue to improve as a team, they're very, very obvious now. That's a game we could and should have won.
Yeah.
Really, it was just down to the finishing, some square pegs and round holes. And hi, Katie, good to see you. Love the hair. For me, actually, as I'm disappointed, but I'm kind of philosophical because I feel like I learned an awful lot about West Ham this evening.
Yeah.
And we can go through that, no problem. But I suppose the glaring thing is just the wastefulness. We dominated that game for 60 minutes, and we had one goal to show for it. We should have had at least 3, probably 4. That game should have been over by the hour mark. And I was tweeting that this is going to come back to bite us.
I will give you credit. You predicted the correct scoreline.
Yeah, I did predict 3-1 to Man United. Yeah, did not think it was going to play out that way.
Yeah,
it's not. I didn't think we'd arrive at 3-1 the way we did. So I can't take too much credit because it was a completely different game to the one I expected, to be honest. But yeah, it's very, very frustrating. I mean, we had a chance to go third.
We were third.
Well, we were third, but I mean, beyond the 90 minutes. And last time I looked, Leeds were 1-0 up at Chelsea. I don't know if they still are, but that would actually keep us in third beyond 10 o'clock, beyond the next couple of hours. So, really frustrating that, an opportunity missed, and you could kind of live with it a bit more if United had been really great and had just been too good for us and beat us. Then you could say, okay, fair enough. But the way we lost it, just very, very frustrating.
I did not see this. I did not see this. What Katie was talking about, missed handball outside the box. I don't doubt it though. I was livid with the VAR decision. I think just about everyone and their mother could tell that that ball from Henderson was out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. The VAR thing, I think just VAR just doesn't know what to do with that. I don't think they have the ability to actually test it. So I think they sent it to VAR, and the people in the VAR room were basically like, we have absolutely no idea what to do with this.
They don't have a straight line cam down the
sideline. Yeah. Which seems a bit crazy.
The fact that you're able to pinpoint with precise accuracy exactly where the arm, like a player's armpit is, with all these like stupid little lines. How are you not able to do the same with a ball that's clearly gone curled out and back in?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question it was out of play. If you look where the ball was played from, it was about 2 yards inside infield, right from the sideline, and it landed about 2 yards infield from the sideline. And in the meantime, it curled like a fucking banana. So, on what planet could you possibly think that did not go out of play? I mean, it's, physics will tell you it had to have. Even
Yeah.
common sense, if you're a linesman or a referee and you know where the ball was played from, 2 yards inside the line, and it landed 50 yards up the pitch, 2 yards inside the line, and the trajectory was like that, it's just common sense. It had to have gone out of play. That was an absolute howler, and that really was a huge moment because it led to the equalizer from Pogba. So that was a huge moment, and that's something that should not be missed because it ended up being actually hugely costly
and
to us.
in my opinion, I think that not only was that important because of the equalizer, it put us like we were so dumbfounded and taken aback by it. It put them in advantage. I mean, they ended up getting the momentum swing. I mean,
It was huge.
but not to that degree. I mean, we were put so far on the back foot because of it, we couldn't recover.
Yeah, I mean that first goal. Let's be honest, the first goal. It's not like they were 3-0 down, trying to come back. They were 1-0 down. So that first goal, that equalizer, is huge. So if the linesman had done his job properly, and called it as it was, which was a throw in to us, that equalizer does not happen at that time. And there's no knowing what that will mean. So that's a huge miss by the linesman. It's a huge howler.
Yeah, it completely changed the outcome of the match, like it or the trajectory of the match. I mean,
the rest of the game was all United.
Yeah, from that one kick, it was done. I don't think as soon as that occurred, as soon as the second went in, I'm like, this is done. This is done and dusted. We're too far. Like we're taken too far back by it, and we have no momentum.
Yeah, it was a killer, and it was a damn shame because we should have been out of sight.
Yeah,
we had. I mean, I have to say, like, as disappointed as we are, we have to give some credit where it's due. That first half was as good as we've played in a long, long time.
Yes.
I mean, that first half, we were absolutely brilliant. I mean, we especially Bowen. How good was Bowen in the first half? I mean, he was absolutely terrorizing their defenders. And Patrice Evra actually was in the Sky Sports studio and basically said the same thing. He said, can't remember his exact words, but it was the same effect. He said that Bowen is just absolutely terrorizing United's back four. He was absolutely sensational in that first half. So fair play to him. But in general, that first half I thought was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it comes back to finishing.
Yes, and
we
that's
had numerous chances, and even in the first 15 minutes of the second half, we had a couple of great chances. And when you only take one of them, like you say, how it is in the NFL too. That old saying in the NFL: "Don't let them hang around." If you're on top and the game is there and you're creating a lot of chances, scoring chances, you take them because it can come back to bite you in the ass. And like I tweeted at halftime, you just know it. You just know what's going to happen. It's going to come back to bite us. We've seen it too many times, and especially as we've actually been on the other end of it in the last kind of three games, I would say, against Fulham, against Sheffield United, and especially against Villa. Villa created so many opportunities where they could have scored goals against us and just did not take a single one of them. And even though Villa were much the better team in their game against us, and we were just hanging on grimly for most of the game. Villa
Yeah.
just didn't finish any of their chances, and we took the 3 points because we took one. And I think we had, we had, was it 2 shots on target? Scored them both.
Uh,
So
no,
so
yeah.
in that
I'm
Villa game,
I just pulled up the stats here. We had more shots than United. We had equal chances on target. So I mean, there's no reason that we shouldn't have been putting them away. I mean, I
yeah, and remember, psychologically it matters too because even though we dominated the first 60 minutes, we're still only 1-0 up. So
yeah,
psychologically, to United, they can tell themselves, okay, come on, if we get it together here, they brought on Fernandez, they brought on Rashford, and the rest of the players get a lift because they're all thinking, okay, it's only 1-0. We're still in this somehow, we're still in it. It gives them hope.
yeah,
It gives them hope and it gives them a kind of belief that they can still get something from the game, they can still go and win it even. If we'd
yeah,
have been 3-0 up, for example, at that point, they don't feel that way. They don't feel that same hope. Oh, we can still get something here. They'll be thinking there's 30 minutes left, we're 3-0 down. They've dominated us. It's a whole different psychology. So, putting teams away is important. You've just got to take your chances to end games when you can.
yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and I'd like to say it's a lesson learned, but in truth, it's not. Um, because this isn't something the players wouldn't have known already anyway. Everybody knows that. We've seen it throughout the years. Teams that uh, outplay their opposition, create plenty of chances, but don't put them away and end up losing. This has been going on ever since the game has existed. So it's not like it's a teachable moment. It's actually just a symptom of one of our problems at the club,
Yeah.
and it
Uh,
needs fixing.
yeah. So yeah, how do we go about fixing it then?
Well, I think the most glaring thing tonight was we need a number 9 who suits the system that we play. So I'll get into who that is, not specific person, but kind of player. Because at the moment, what we've got is Heller, who just is too slow, is too ponderous. I mean, that chance he had when he was put clean through against Henderson and literally just ended up falling over his own feet and on his arse. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just embarrassing for everyone involved. Um, it was awful to watch. It was like another one of those great chances we had of gone a begging. Um, but look, I'm not judging him on that moment, obviously.
Yeah.
Haller just isn't the kind of forward that is going to work for us. He's too slow, he's too ponderous, and it just doesn't work in our system. This is not me being anti-Haller. It's not me saying Haller is shit. That's not what I'm doing. If you put Haller, Haller, let's say we sell him, he goes to another team, they put him in a system that really suits him. Haller can thrive and Haller can look great and he can score goals and get assists and he can, look like a 45 million pound forward. So to me, it's not Haller's ability I'm questioning. It's just the kind of ability he has is not the kind of ability that we need in our number 9 right now.
Yeah.
So Haller ain't going to work unless you completely change the system around him to make him work. Now, Moyes isn't going to do that. And frankly, if you're talking what's the easier thing to do, to sell one striker and replace him with another one, or completely change around an entire system, we potentially have to buy 3 or 4 players on top of that now because the other players are now not working in this system. So it's easier just to sell him, move him on, and get in the striker that we need. Antonio, as we've seen, can work. He
Yeah.
does have pace, does have power, and he scores some goals. Unfortunately, his hamstrings are made of spaghetti.
I saw your tweet.
So
I was rolling.
yeah, so yeah, his hamstrings are made of spaghetti. So we can't rely on him to be on the pitch for half the season. So to me, what tonight showed was what we need is kind of a Jamie Vardy type of striker. someone who can happily operate up front as a lone striker, someone who has pace, and I mean real pace, that when he makes those runs in between the centre backs, or he makes a run in between the fullback and the centre back and gets played in behind, he's gone. He's gone. We saw it tonight, actually, when Bowen was put through by Fornals. He was clean through. He showed a clean pair of heels to Wan-Bissaka, but he just didn't have the pace to get there. And Wan-Bissaka, because he's quick, was able to get back and get the tackle in, and Bowen never even got a shot off. So we need that Jamie Vardy type striker with that pace, who makes those runs in behind, and once he's put through, it's over. You're not catching him. He's gone. And obviously, most importantly, he'll finish. When he gets a chance like Haller got, he'll finish that. When he gets put through the way Bowen was put through, he's gone and he'll slot it past the keeper. Goal. That's what we need. I'm not pulling names out of the hat here. If I wanted to find actual players, I'd have to go research it and stuff. But that's what we're crying out for. If we had one of those players on the pitch tonight, a Jamie Vardy type forward, we would certainly have scored more than one goal.
Yeah, I agree. So then let me ask you, would you consider potentially moving Haller on in now less than a month, and using whatever funds we get from that to hopefully bring in one, maybe two strikers? Or what would you do?
I think it'll be difficult in January. I think we're already hearing that there's not going to be much by way of funds.
Exactly.
It would be difficult, I think, in January to get the kind of money we're looking for Haller. I think if we were going to move Haller on, and we're trying to get the right kind of money for him, I think the only real way to do that would be to find a good club for him to loan out to for the rest of the season, from January to the end of the season. Hope he bangs goals in for them. Hope he fits into their system and just bangs goals in all over the place, and then get a really good bid for him in the summer. I think if we were going to sell Haller in January, the bids we would get would be quite derisory. I don't think they'd be acceptable to us. So it would be very difficult to do it that way. I think overall it's going to be very difficult in January to get the striker in that we need. Now, look, I don't even know if it's on David Moyes' wish list. I have no idea. We're hearing talk about Josh King. He ain't the answer. Josh King would be a backup striker for us. But you see, the thing is, I don't think Moyes is looking for the player I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't think that's what he's looking for. I think he likes a big, strong forward that they can, if they need to, they can just fucking lump the ball up to, and who can hold it up, And I think we should be doing, the exact opposite. One of the things that we like about Antonio, right? Sorry, Chris.
No worries.
One of the things we love about Antonio is that you can do that, right? You can lump the ball up the channels, he'll turn and go, and he'll chase it down, and he's quick, and he'll often get there ahead of the fullback or the centre back, and will actually gain possession. No, you don't have to be big and strong for that. He gets there because he's fast. He just outpaces the fullback or the centre back, chasing that lump ball forward, and he gets there first. So size doesn't come into that. So even if we had a slighter Jamie Vardy type number 9 who's really quick, he'll still make that turn and make that run and get there first. The difference is he might be able to turn with his pace, push it past the back, and go, and he's inside. So the power part doesn't bother me. Okay, you might not get the same hold-up play out of a Jamie Vardy style forward, but I think the trade-off is worth it.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. But I was trying to say was with regards to the strong striker that can just be kind of lumped up to, in both Moyes' tenures at West Ham, that's kind of what it's been. I mean, it was the same way with Arnautovic. So I mean, it does seem like that is kind of his preferred system. And
well, that would be okay.
To a degree,
Actually, that would be okay if he was to find another Arnautovic. That would work. You know, Arnautovic was strong. He was a big lad. You know, he was tall. He was big. But he wasn't, you know, a lump. You know what I mean? He wasn't a big Antonio type lump. So there's nothing wrong with the forward being strong. You can get that combination of strong, you know, and fast, and who can finish. Arnautovic was all of those things. He could finish, he was fast, and he could be strong. He could battle a defender for a centre back for possession. So it can be done. You just have to do the work, and with you just got to get that one scout we have working overtime. Go find us. Find us. Yeah. Go find us the next Arnautovic. He's got to be really fast. Got to have some upper body strength, reasonable upper body strength, where he can, you know, at least tussle with centre backs and win 50% of the time, and you know, has to be able to finish. So it's a pity Arnautovic went the way he did, really. You know, wanting to go to China for the money. I think he regrets it now. If he'd have stayed at West Ham, he'd still be here, I'm sure, still playing up top for Moyes, and we'd look a different team, I think. But if he can find another one of those, that would make a huge difference to us. Huge. Another thing, actually, I wanted to touch on, which I noticed tonight, the Masuaku situation. He is the most frustrating player to watch for West Ham. Frustrating because I like him. I think he's a great guy. I like he has that little bit of swagger about him. He has a lot of skill. He works hard. You know, he never stops running. And he does a lot of good things in possession, carrying the ball forward. And I think we kind of need him, because we need somebody who can, because he does go past people, you know? He goes past people. He gets himself into really, really good situations. He does a lot of good work down that left-hand side. And then the reason I don't have any hair left, he wastes it every fucking time. He gets in great positions and then puts in a shit ball. A terrible cross. He gives possession away. And it kills me, because I'm thinking, if only you had end product. Arthur, if only you could put the right ball in more often than not, you'd be lethal. You'd have so many assists. I mean, and it just kills me. I don't know how many times it happened tonight, Chris. He got into great situations where he could really put a great ball in, you know, onto a teammate, either a low cross or, you know, normal cross onto the head, or a good pass, you know, and every damn time he put the ball in, it went to a Man United defender, and I was like, oh God. And it's, you know, he really, really needs to get someone around him on the training ground. Moyes has got to pull him aside and listen, we're putting a coach working with you. You've got to show him the tapes of himself.
Yeah.
Because he seems like an intelligent chap. He seems like, you know, he's conscientious, and like he's not going to throw a hissy fit about it. I think he would see himself on the tapes and say, yeah, that's not good enough. I have got to be better with my final ball, because he does so much great work up to that point and then just wastes it. And it's kind of cracking me up, to be honest.
Yeah, and you make some good points on that. I definitely didn't notice it probably as much as you. But I mean, I've seen it in the past. I know what you're talking about. Today, I thought.
I've been on this train for a while, so.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, once you get on that train, you kind of are nitpicking and looking.
You notice everything, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But you're exactly right. I'm trying to think, though. I mean, could you really say that anyone had a bad performance?
Overall, no, there was no one. There wasn't a single player, probably. It seems ironic that we lost 3-1. There wasn't a single player that you'd say, okay, he had a stinker. Obviously, as in any game, some players are better than others. That's true every single game, but to varying degrees. But there was nobody there that I'd feel like I have to dig out massively for saying you were, excuse me, to say, you were absolutely shit tonight.
Yeah.
I didn't think so. Tonight was just, like I said, for 60 minutes was fantastic. I was really enjoying it for 60 minutes, apart from the frustration of, come on, get the fucking second.
Yeah.
Get that second. Yeah. But other than that, it was really good to watch. We played some good stuff, created numerous chances. We were very lively. So yeah, it was. I was very. Even though we lost it 3-1 in the end, the only complaint I really, really have is that we just didn't put that game to bed and we let them hang around and paid the price for it. They were able to bring on the likes of Fernandez, who played an unbelievable through ball for Rashford, and then
Fernandez is just
Rashford.
Fernandez is just incredible. The way
he's a brilliant player.
The way he alone changed the course of that match, and
Rashford just flipped that game on its head.
Yeah, and to that point too, though, it has to be said again that it just feels like with Moyes, he's so slow to react. You knew that they were going to come out with different tactics, being down. You knew that they were probably going to bring on some of these players. You needed to make changes. You needed to make adjustments, and it just didn't feel like they did that ever until it was too late.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is one of the criticisms of Moyes. He doesn't. We've seen this numerous times, where our opposition's manager has turned the game around from the bench. Bringing in certain players, and Moyes just does not react. He doesn't counter those moves at all. It was. I think we all knew when Rashford came on, he was going to go down that left-hand side and was very likely just going to torch Kufal.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed that Moyes did not react whatsoever to that. I'd have liked to have seen a reaction. Ideally, we would have had Fredericks on the bench. Unfortunately, like he's got a slight knock, he's not quite fit. But in an ideal world, you have Fredericks on the bench. And I know if I'm standing on the sideline and I see Rashford warming up, I'm like, okay, Ryan, you're going in. Yeah, you're going into your usual position. You're just going to have to, because you can run stride for stride with Rashford. So your job literally. I don't care if you don't do anything going forward. Your job is literally do not let Rashford in behind ever. So unfortunately, we didn't have that. Now he did bring Johnson on.
I was surprised by that. But again, it was a late substitution, so he really couldn't impact much.
Yeah, it was just an options issue as well there. I think to be fair to Moyes, on that particular one, the thing with Rashford, he didn't have like a speed merchant really that he could bring in there.
Yeah.
To deal. There was only Johnson. I think there was Johnson and Diop on the bench. Diop is a bit pacey, but I don't think Diop is going to live with Rashford's pace either.
It'd be interesting to see Diop out on the right like that, though.
Yeah, it's not something I ever want to see. Him in open field. But no, Rashford would have torched him as well.
Yeah.
So I suppose he didn't have that silver bullet of Fredericks on the bench to give him a bit of an out.
Yeah.
But yeah, but look, it's easy to criticize, I know, but like, let's be clear here. Rashford and Fernandez are world class. I mean, these are absolutely top class, fucking brilliant footballers. There's a lot of teams that have been torched by them too. So I remember out in Paris Saint-Germain were torched by them. On their own patch. So we're not the first, we won't be the last. Just the sad part for me is that we weren't already in a much stronger position as regards the amount of goals we had in the bag. Had we been 3-0 up like we should have been, I don't think that happens. I don't think they get their 3 goals. I think it completely changes the dynamic of the game.
If we would have won at 3-0, considering that they have an important Champions League match next week, they would have rested, and they would have almost waved the white flag on that one.
Possibly, yeah.
And so that.
But here's the thing. Yeah, they may. Yeah, Moyes may have, or Solskjaer may have not bothered, or even if he did bring on the cavalry, if we're 3-0 up, we're literally in a position where we can say, right, that's fine, we're pulling everyone back.
Yeah,
everyone. We're 3-0 up. We are absolutely confident that when we have everyone behind the ball defending, which we are very, very good at, there is absolutely no way in hell you score 3 goals past us in the last 20 minutes. No chance.
I
you would
guess,
have had that luxury, but
fair,
at 1-0 up, you don't have that luxury, really.
To be fair, though, I will say, after our game, or after our match with Tottenham, being down 3, I'm still scared by it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Like I say, I think at 3-1, obviously it's very difficult to get back into the game. I think also Benrahma should have been on sooner.
And that's what I want to get to next. Do you start Benrahma next against Leeds, or do you stick with Pablo Fornals?
Yeah, because I think another one of the issues we have, apart from the lack of pace we already spoke about, which Fornals is not fast, is we just, with the 11 we're putting out right now, we just don't have enough skill and technique in the side. So, a lot of players that work very hard, they do the basics very well, but they just don't have that little bit of magic in their toes. You put someone, and you don't have to have lots of them in there. We need a sprinkling, right? We need a sprinkling. Who's that dude with the salt? Yeah, we need it. Need a little bit of that. So yeah, we need a little bit of that. So Benrahma gives us that.
I love
it. Yeah, Benrahma gives us that. And look, Chris, from social media and from doing a show with me and stuff, how much I love Fornals.
Yeah.
I have a lot of time for Fornals. I'm one of his biggest fans. Works his socks off for the team. He's a very good player. But I just think in that position where he's playing, it limits him. I don't think it's not his fault. He's that square peg in a round hole, and I think we need a round peg in that round hole now. I think we need that little sprinkling of magic that Benrahma gives us.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think it's Benrahma's time now. And as much as I love Fornals, I think this experiment now has kind of run its course of Fornals playing in that position. He has got to play more central if we're going to play him. He's got to. So I would take him out, to be completely honest. Yeah. I would take him out and I would say to Benrahma, okay, listen, this is your chance now. Fornals is a very good player and I like him a lot, and it will not take much for me to put him back in. So I'm giving you a chance. I'm making this change. It's tactical. Yeah. Fornals hasn't done anything wrong. So you need to go out there and show me now that you should have that shirt, that you should be in that position every week, starting. I would imagine Benrahma will respond to that, because he wants to start. He wants that spot. He wants to show what he can do.
There's a reason he came to us and didn't stay at Brentford. He wants to play Premier League football. So
yeah, he wants to play at a higher level than we are, even, right? So this is a very young, very talented, very ambitious player, which I like. Those are exactly the kind of players we should be signing. Players who see us as a stepping stone. People used to complain, oh, you don't care about West Ham, you only see us as a stepping stone. Yeah, good. That means you've got a very young, very talented, very ambitious player who intends to be brilliant for you so that he can get his dream move to some big club somewhere, right? That's perfect to me. That's exactly what we need. And I think Benrahma is that player. And it's his time now, I think. And again, it's not Fornals has done nothing wrong. He's just the wrong player in the wrong position. So I would put him in, Chris. And I think that the fan tide is turning that way quite strongly now, that we've got to get someone in there who can do something different, who can go in there and skin a couple of players and go past them and just create an opening from nothing, you know, because we just don't have enough of it. Behave, Kieran. We just don't have enough of that in the side. So Ben Rama, we have to get him in the side now. I think have to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right, but we're very industrious, and that's fine. The formation suits us. It's working well for us. We're conceding far less goals, and we're very, very industrious, and that's getting us somewhere. But now we just need that sprinkling of something special to kick us on. And yeah, it's time.
Yeah. So then let me ask you too, as a follow-up to the Leeds match here in a few days. When is that match actually? I do not know.
That's Friday night.
Friday.
It's the Friday game, so we'll be first up.
How do you like our chances? Do you feel confident in that one? Do you think we can get a win? Start getting our form back, or what do you think about it?
Yeah, it's a winnable game. Leeds are a good side.
And that you, by the way, Leeds and Chelsea are currently drawing at 1-1. So
yeah, the Leeds scored very early. Yeah, Leeds are a good side. Again, I think that's a 50-50 game. That could genuinely go either way. Leeds play a very open game. They create chances. They're very good going forward. They score goals, but they're really open at the back. They concede a lot of goals as well, and so there's no question we can get at them. And that's exactly, Chris, again, Ben Rama has to start, right? So, like Bowen on the right has some pace. He's not slow. You wouldn't say Bowen is slow. He's not obviously lightning, but he's got some pace. So he'll be useful on that side. He can get in behind. We have to have Ben Ram on the other side who can get in behind. If we put pace in there against Leeds, we can open them up with that pace. They are vulnerable to counterattacks. They'll be very positive at home as well against us. Like they will come for us. They will go at us. They'll get players forward, and every time we win the ball back, we have to have an ability to look forward immediately for runners like Bowen and Ben Rama who are on the move immediately, looking for that out ball. And all of a sudden we've got 2-on-2 or whatever, or we've got 3-on-2. So yeah, I'm. It's hard to call that game, Chris. Very hard to call it. West Ham. I mean, we don't even know what West Ham will turn up. Last 3 games before tonight, I mean, we were outplayed at home by Fulham. We were outplayed away to Sheffield United. We were outplayed badly at home to Villa. And then tonight against Man United, we torched them for 60 minutes and we looked fucking great. So what we're going to do when we rock up at Leeds, I don't know which West Ham will turn up. I kind of trust it. I actually almost feel better about us going into games against the big teams than I do against teams in the bottom half, because against the big teams, you kind of just know the fucking players are going to turn up and they're going to play, and they like those big games. It kind of inspires them or whatever. I don't know, but against like the lesser teams, we look like a much worse team. So I don't really know ever what to expect from West Ham. It's going to be a tough game up there. Would you take a point at Leeds? I wouldn't take it now before the game, right? Because I think it's a winnable game. I would still rather take our chances and let's see if we can go up there and get a win, because it's very doable that we could go up there and get a win. We could scrape that 2-1 or something, right? Just no problem. So I wouldn't take it now. If after the 90 minutes, ref blows his whistle and it's 1-1, I'll be okay with that. That won't be a disappointing result to me. I'll consider that to be a reasonable point on the road. That would be acceptable after the fact. But I wouldn't take it now.
Yeah. Well, listen, so I unfortunately have to cut this a bit short. Being at my grandparents, I got to help them out still a little bit, get everything cleaned up and whatnot. One last thing I did want to mention, though, was how great it was to see fans back in the stands. Even if it's very minimal, it's great to have that back.
Yeah, even though they obviously having fans back in the stadium, fuck the players up when we lost, but So maybe they should just stay away.
Yeah.
Everything was fine till they showed up.
Those 2,000 people.
Yeah, our players can't play in front of fans. We know that.
Yeah, that's very true. But listen.
No, but look, just before we go, I have to give a quick shout out to Declan Rice. He was absolutely fucking world class tonight, by the way. Absolutely world class. He put one challenge in on Pogba in the second half. I nearly jizzed myself. Like, Pogba was like running through with the ball. Rice looked like he was nowhere. He's like jogging through midfield, and Pogba's kind of cutting in at the angle from the left-hand side in towards the centre of the penalty area, like steaming. And then all of a sudden, Rice just turned on the afterburners and caught up with him and put in an absolutely brilliant last-ditch challenge. It was absolutely top class. We're blessed to have him in our side. I mean, he's. I don't care what anyone says. That guy is world class.
Yeah, we need to get him a new contract ASAP.
Oh yeah, pay that man.
You know it, Kieran. You know it always.
You think that's bad, Kieran? I'm meeting up with a few buddies to go whaling after this.
That's great. But yeah, as always, Tommy, thank you for joining me. Everyone, thank you for joining us in the chat again. Like we had said, our next match is Friday against Leeds, and I fully expect to be right back here. But until then,
you just know what's going to happen now. It's going to be a fucking Haller hat trick or something. Come on, you Irons.
Oh, absolutely.